Okay, so this presentation, it's about the Module 6, Topic 2, Homework 1. This is where you collect the simple random sample for your project. And in the workbook, I've written up the steps for how to do that. A lot of it's done in Excel or on your computer. And so in this video, I'm just going to go through the steps to illustrate how you do that. I'm on a Windows system, so if you're using a Chromebook or a Mac, things will look a little bit different. But I hope this will be close enough that you'll see what to do. At least Excel works the same. So what the project is going to be a study in which the population is the set of all the counties in the United States. So there are no people in our population. Each individual member of the population is a county. And there are 3,000 and a couple of hundred counties in the US. So it's a fairly big population, but usually when you do statistics, you're thinking about populations of millions of individuals. We only have a few thousand counties. So this is kind of a simulation. It's a big enough sample that it might be a little bit difficult or inconvenient to get data for every single county. And so that's why we're going to do sampling, where each student will have 64 randomly selected counties, or 36, I forgot what the number is, we'll come to that. So each student in the class will have their own sample, different from everybody else's, a different set of counties. And so everyone will get slightly different conclusions, but they won't differ by much. And so that's the probability problem that I keep talking about that we'll come to about, well, if you select your counties randomly and you have enough of them, there's a good chance that, like, if you find the average of a variable for all of the counties in your sample, there's a high probability that it will be fairly close to what you would get from the entire population. And so everybody's results will differ a little bit, but they'll cluster around the truth. So here are these steps. I'm on page 218 in the September edition of the workbook. And the step 1 is to create a new folder on your desktop and name it to identify it as yours, where you can keep the files for the project. You may already have a folder, a local folder on your computer where you're keeping files for the class, and if so, you don't necessarily need to create a new one right now, but I'm going to pretend I don't already have one. And I say local folder because if you're keeping all of your files in Google Drive or something like this, sometimes there's some confusion about, well, you download a file and you work with it in Excel, and then you save it somewhere and you can't find the one you just worked on. You go back and you get the original one. So that's all fine. You just have to keep track of it. And you'll want to run Excel. You don't just click on a spreadsheet and let it open in your web browser, okay, because it may be opening a copy that lives on a Google server somewhere and not opening it with Excel, but opening it with sheets. And so you're not doing what you think you're doing. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to create a folder on my desktop. I just clicked my right mouse button and I come over here to New Folder, and I'll call this Fred's Project. Okay, and then step number 2. Open the ccsf.edu website. Well, here it is, and click the link for the Canvas system. So if your window's just a little bit wider, the Canvas link pops out there up front, but if it's not super wide, you have to go over here to the menu and you go to Canvas. And I'm going to log in, so you'll need to log in. And we'll go to our course, Math 80. And you have probably already downloaded the files for the class, but just in case, I'm going to left click right here on the link to get the data for the spreadsheet. And when I do my downloads, you can set preferences for your browser. I set it up so that downloads would come to my desktop. Yours may go to some temporary folder somewhere, and so you may want to pause the video for a moment and find out where did your data spreadsheet go, so that you can get it out from any sort of temporary location and put it into the folder or the files you're going to use in your project. Now the workbook, I'm recording this on September 15th, and I just put out a new version of the workbook with just correcting a few typos, including correcting these instructions that I'm looking at right now. So if you don't have the September version of the workbook, you'll see it in the file name after you download it that it's the September version. You want to get that version or later. If it comes to October when you're doing this, you might want to check to see if there's an October version by then. But you want to get the latest version. So I'm going to click on that. And it's taking a minute to download. I'm going to move that over into my Fred's Project folder. Okay. So I came to step 6 and I got the data, and I kind of did an extra step and I got the latest workbook. Okay. So now we come to step 7. So I want to open that new spreadsheet file that I found. So here's my folder for my project files, and I'm going to double click on the data for the workbook to open that in Excel. You may have to enable editing for security, and I want to click on, like it says here in the instructions for step 7, and click on the project population tab. So all these tabs are across the bottom with the different data sets, and let's see. Oh, actually, I want to go to step 8 and click on the U.S. Counties tab. Yet another typo to fix. Okay. So what I have on the left-hand side here is a list of all 3,142 counties in the United States. I've got a number, an index number here running from 1 all the way up to 3,142. It's an index. We can call it I. And we've got the county name and the state. And then over here, I've set the spreadsheet up to randomly select counties. Let me show you how that formula works. It's already set up for you, but then there's this function called rand between that picks a random number between 1 and 3,142. And that function, every time the function refreshes, it picks a new random number. And you'll see it's the same in all these cells. Every one of these cells has got the same formula in it. So you get 64 new random numbers every time you do anything. So in step 9 here, it says type something in a blank cell. So I'll do that. I'll just type a letter over there and hit return. And that refreshes the spreadsheet. All the functions, all the arithmetic in the spreadsheet gets recomputed. And so every time I do anything, I get new counties. Okay. Now for our project, we're only going to need 36 of these. And we don't want your counties to keep changing every time you do anything. Okay. So at this point, any people doing this at home, you'll all have different counties from each other. So what you're going to do is you're going to select these. And I'm doing Control-C to copy. Or you can click up here in the menu. Do Control-C. I've copied. And then I'm going to move over to a different tab, this Project Data Example tab right here. And well, you see where I copied, I started my copying with the 1, the index number 1, and I went down to index 36, and I copied all 4 of these columns. So now if I go over here, I want to click on the 1. Okay. And then I'm not going to just say paste. Because when you paste in Excel, it doesn't just paste the numbers, it pastes the formulas. I don't really want that rand between formula anymore. I don't want it to be random anymore. I want to just paste the numbers that I've already got. So I come up here and I click on paste values. See, and now this is not a formula anymore. It's just a plain number. Okay. Now it says hepatitis mortality rates here. But that's not going to be our project this year. I don't even want to get into what our project is this year just yet. Okay. All I want to do right now is I'm going to change this so it doesn't say hepatitis mortality rates. I'm going to say your variable goes here. And once you get into your project, we'll figure out what variable and what year. Okay, so you can pause the video if you need to. Go ahead and do those things so that your spreadsheet will look like mine. And get rid of all this talk about hepatitis. Okay. Now you're just almost ready to hand this thing in. But I don't want you to hand in the whole spreadsheet because it's kind of big. There's a lot of data in it, a lot of formulas and graphs. And I don't want everyone to hand in a huge spreadsheet. So what we're going to do, you want to put your name here. You can leave your variable blank, but leave it to be filled in, but at least put your name on this thing, so if it becomes, after you hand it in, if it gets separated somehow, I'll know whose it is. So don't put my name, put your name. Okay. Oh, I'll make it pretty. I'll merge and center. Okay. So since I don't want everyone to hand in this whole spreadsheet, come over here to your, you can come over here to your folder where you're keeping things for your project, or put it on your desktop and then move it. But I click the right-hand mouse button. I come over here to New, and one of my choices is Microsoft Excel Worksheet. There are other ways to get there. You could just launch Excel and then make a new blank one and then save it in here. Okay, but this is you'd put your name here. Your name underscore sample. And there's a blank spreadsheet. I'm going to open it up. Then I'm going to copy just this much, just my table of names of counties. And I'm going to paste that over here. Fix up the formatting a little bit. I can make those columns a little wider. Need more space so I can read the names of the counties. You need to make it so I can read it when I look at it in the speed grader, because I can't mess with your file. So if I can't see it, I can't see it. Okay. So you'll have your name here, and we'll figure out the variable later, and you'll have your list of counties. And you'll fix the column widths, so it looks readable. By the way, I made this wider. You can drag the columns to change the width, or you can point at the right-hand edge of a column, and you get this little symbol for your cursor, and you double click on a Windows system with the left mouse button, and it'll adjust the column width automatically. On a Mac, you can get a menu where that's one of the choices. Okay, so and now I'm just going to save this thing. Okay, so we made the new blank one. We saved it with the name specified here. We copied our counties into it. You added your name inside the file underneath the title. And then we're going to need to get some data. Now, so the project we're going to get some health data. So I want to go to this website. So I've just copied it. I'm going to put it up here in the browser. And we have this a number of studies. So this organization here, Global Health Data Exchange, they just get the raw data from published studies. So there'll be articles in like medical journals or scientific research journals, and these people get the raw data from these sources, and they just kind of compile links to it here on this this website. And so United States infectious disease mortality rates by county from 1980 to 2014. So this is the study that we're gonna get our data from. And there's this big spreadsheet over here. All states and counties. It's a zip file, and you can download that. You can just click on it, and we'll be able to look up data in it. And this one takes just a minute to download. It's kind of big. And inside, there's this spreadsheet. And so we have all the counties, and we have mortality rates for different diseases. And one of them is hepatitis. You can click on the hepatitis tab. And then let's get the mortality rate for the year 2014. you can just hide all this data. We're not talking about the change in mortality rate, just the mortality rate. So I've hidden all these extra columns. So I'm just seeing the name of the county and these numbers. Now, looking here at this Autauga County, Alabama, how to interpret the, oh, hang on, I gotta hide everything again. So for this Autauga County, Alabama, the estimate was 0.20 deaths per 100,000 people. Units of measurement, you can abbreviate that DPHT. Okay. And the confidence interval, meaning they're fairly confident, and I will send you to where you can read about all this data and find out how confident they are. Okay. But that estimate was 0.2 deaths per 100,000, but maybe between 0.13 DPHT and 0.28. We'll learn a lot more about how to interpret confidence intervals, how those are calculated and what it means later. But for just collecting your data, you're going to need those three numbers. Now, I think the easiest way to get this would be first, you just go over here to your list of counties, and you'll be able to sort these out in different ways as you go along. Sometimes you'll want them in increasing order by mortality rate, or sometimes you'll want them in alphabetical order by county. I'm going to sort them right now. I want to sort them by state, and then within the state I want to sort by county name, and that'll make it easy for me to look these up over here in the table. And so I'm going to come over here to sort, and well, that was fine, sorry. Sort, do custom sort, and then first I want to sort by the state, so that's column D. And then I want to add a level, and after I've sorted by column D, then I want to sort by column C, the name of the county. I'll say, oh, and because I've selected all 4 columns, oh, that's not what I wanted. I don't want to sort the indexes out. I want to just sort everything else. So let me cancel that for just a second. I only want to select these 3 columns. I want to keep them together, you know, so that number still goes with Brule County and still goes with South Dakota. Okay, so now here I go again. Sort smallest to large. No, undo. You can always undo with Control Z. Go custom sort. Sort first by column D. Add a level. Sort by column C. Say OK. All right, so now they're in order, so they'll be easier to look up. And so to start with, let's see. So I'm just going to go down here to Arkansas. Okay. And Kuselvac census area. That is not a county. Okay. I'll put not applicable there. I'll go back and get me a new county in a minute. Okay. Let's see. Arkansas Lake and Peninsula. That is also not a county. Well, would you believe Greene County? This is Alabama. Greene County, Alabama. Oh, good. Okay. So I'll just put that over here for the moment. I'll get one more, Houston County, while I'm here. Okay. That's just about enough. So you would go ahead and get it for the rest of your data. And so I guess after all we'll stick with the hepatitis. Okay. Now what I want to do is fill in these lower and upper boundaries for the confidence interval. So what I'm going to do, after you get all the numbers, I'm just going to do it for 2, but you would want to do them all at once as a batch. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it over here. Wait a minute. It's not letting me copy. Okay. Let me close this thing. And minimize this. Get a bunch of stuff out of the way. What I want to do is to show you how in a batch you can separate these out. There we go. I'll copy, and then I'll paste over here. I just want to show you a tool you can do. You can use to split all this out into, so it's like I've got 3 different numbers in one cell, and I want to split it so it's only one number in each cell. Okay, so I go over here to the data toolbar, and there's this cool thing called text to columns. Click on text to columns. And this is delimited text. So when it comes to a comma or a space, or a parenthesis, or the other parenthesis, well, we'll just do that much for now. It wants to treat any of those as like the boundary between 2 different numbers. And then I just say finish. Oh, destination, I can tell it where to put this. I'll just let it put it over here. Okay. And I say finish. Seeing it separated them out. Now all I have to do is to get rid of that other parenthesis. I can do this again. I can do text to columns, delimited, and this time it's the right parenthesis is going to be treated as not really part of the number, as just a boundary. I'll say next and finish. And so now I got this as 3 separate numbers. I'll copy. I'm going to paste over here. And I'm going to do this paste special again to just paste the values because I don't want to mess up my formatting with the pretty borders. In fact, I already messed it up over here. I can do format cells and put my border back. Okay. Now the one thing is I put this in the wrong place. Supposed to be over here. Paste that again. There we go. So the 0.19 is the mortality rate, and these 2 numbers are the lower and upper boundaries of the confidence interval. We're pretty sure that the true mortality rate is somewhere between those 2 numbers. Don't know exactly where. Best guess is right in the middle, the 0.19. The margin of error, it's just take how far it is from the middle, well, half the distance between these 2. So let's go, I'll make a formula here. I'll say equals, and get how far apart those 2 boundaries are by subtracting. Then divide by 2. And I can drag that down to duplicate the formula down here. Turned out to be the same. That's just coincidence. See, just shifted everything by 5. So that's what you do. You fill in all these numbers, and then you make that formula, and you drag it down. And then if you had any counties that you can't find, and you go back to where we were doing our random selection, and you hit rand between, you get a couple more counties, random counties. And that's it. You need to put a footnote down at the bottom about where did you get your data. And so back over here in the web page, you can click on the overview here. There's some general information here, a summary of how they got the data. You'll want to use that later when you write the paper. You have to talk about what they did. You'll need to look here. Okay. They tell you where did the original data come from. So in your footnote, you're going to cite these people, the GHDX, because that's where you got it. But you're also going to mention that they got it in turn. They went to here, this Journal of the American Medical Association. Okay. So, you know, towards writing the paper, you want to start making notes and bookmarks about this stuff. You know, you might want to copy and paste this into a little Word document, you know, so you can come back to this easily to see where did the Global Health Data Index, where did they go to get the data? And then for the citation, for making the footnote for the Global Health Index itself, you click here. You see, they've got a footnote for you. Almost. You just need to add the URL and the date when you downloaded the data, in case it might change. So, that's the step 15 here. You make a footnote. Here, I'm going to copy this and I'll put it over here beside the data. No, that's not what I wanted. Undo that. Go back over here. I want to copy this. I want to go over here and paste it. I can do a little formatting. I can merge all these cells and move to the top and move to the right and click this wrap text, and then it'll be more readable. I need that. I also need the link for where I actually got the data itself. Let me go back. It was this spreadsheet here. Say copy link. Come over here. Put the link, and I got this on the 15th of September. And that's it. So we've done our footnote, and then you just save your spreadsheet with the rest of the data filled in, and then you can upload it through Canvas. And that's all for this assignment. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and I know you'll have some questions about this for the class session. I'm hoping you'll see this and then come to the Zoom afterwards and ask some questions. Okay, that's it.